How ancient humans survived the night before fire. The sun was dropping fast, and somewhere in a cold ridge in what is now northern Spain, a small group of early humans pressed their backs against a rock wall and watched the light disappear. There was no flame waiting for them, no warmth to crawl toward, just the growing dark, the drop in temperature, and the sounds of predators waking up for their shift. For most of human history, this was the reality, not the campfire-lit version we imagine when we picture our ancestors. The real story is colder, quieter, and far more dangerous. And it raises a question modern people almost never ask. How did humans survive the night before they had fire? Because here's the strange part. Fire is much younger than we assume. Controlled, reliable use of fire likely didn't become widespread until somewhere between 400,000 and 1 million years ago, depending on which site you trust. But our genus, Homo, stretches back roughly 2.8 million years. That leaves an enormous stretch of time, over 1 million years in some estimates, where early humans faced the night with nothing but their bodies, their groups, and their instincts. No flashlight, no flame. No walls, just darkness thick enough to swallow a person whole. So what did they do? To understand the answer, you have to go back to what the world actually looked like before fire changed everything. Early hominins lived in a landscape ruled by nocturnal predators. Big cats moved silently through grasslands. Hyenas hunted in packs after dusk. And our ancestors, physically unimpressive compared to these animals, had none of the natural advantages predators have evolved over millions of years. No claws built for defense, no powerful jaws, nor night vision worth mentioning. And yet they survived. Not by accident, but through behavior so effective it's still baked into human instinct today. The first strategy was location. Paleoanthropologists studying early hominin sites in places like Sterkfontein and Swartkrans in South Africa have found strong evidence that early humans slept in trees or on cliff ledges, elevated spots predators couldn't easily reach. Height wasn't just a preference, it was survival architecture. A body on the ground at night was a body available to be eaten. A body 10 feet up in a tree, wedged into branches, was significantly safer. This is actually still visible in how some great apes behave. Chimpanzees build nests in trees every single night, a behavior researchers believe mirrors what early hominins likely did before fire gave them another option. It wasn't sophistication, it was necessity shaping habit. But height alone wasn't enough. The second survival strategy was even more important, and it's one that still defines human behavior today: the group. Alone in the dark, an early human had almost no chance. But in a group, sleeping in a tight cluster, watching in shifts, listening for movement in the brush, the odds shifted. Some members of the group likely stayed semi-alert through parts of the night, a behavior anthropologists refer to as vigilance behavior, still observed in modern hunter-gatherer societies like the Hadza in Tanzania, who sleep lightly and wake frequently through the night even now, thousands of years after fire became common. That's not paranoia, that's inherited survival wiring. And this is where the story becomes unexpectedly personal, because that instinct never fully disappeared. If you've ever woken up in the middle of the night for no clear reason, heart a little faster, senses briefly sharp, you were running old software written by ancestors who didn't have the luxury of deep, unbroken sleep in an unlit world. Then researchers discovered something that made the picture even more complex. Sleep itself may have evolved differently in early humans compared to other primates. A widely discussed study on human sleep evolution found that humans sleep in shorter, more efficient bursts compared to other primates, despite spending less total time asleep. The leading theory connects this directly to the dangers of sleeping on the ground or in exposed environments, before fire and shelter offered real protection. In other words, our sleep architecture may still carry the fingerprints of 1 million years spent listening for danger in the dark. But surviving physically was only half the battle. The night before fire wasn't just a threat to the body. It reshaped behavior at a psychological level too. Without firelight to extend the day, activity was almost entirely dictated by the sun. Early humans were forced into what researchers call strict diurnal behavior, active during daylight, motionless and hidden once darkness fell. This wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was one of the only viable defenses available. Movement at night meant noise. Noise meant detection, and detection in a world full of far more dangerous animals often meant death. Excavations at sites like Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, one of the earliest known locations showing possible controlled fire use dating back roughly 1 million years, help us understand exactly what changed once fire entered the picture. Before that shift, night wasn't something early humans experienced, it was something they endured. And that single fact says something remarkable about who we are. Every instinct humans have around darkness, discomfort with isolation at night, unease in unfamiliar dark spaces, a preference for group settings after sunset, may trace back to a period long before recorded history, when the wrong decision after dusk could end the bloodline. Fire didn't just give humans warmth or cooked food. It gave them something arguably more important: control over time itself. For the first time, humans could push back against the dark instead of hiding from it. They could extend the day artificially, gather after sunset, talk, plan, bond. Some researchers argue this extra social time around firelight may have even influenced the development of storytelling and complex language, since firelight created the first regular window for group conversation that wasn't focused purely on survival tasks. Which means fire didn't just protect the body, it may have shaped the mind. So the next time you flip a light switch without thinking, or fall asleep without fear of what might be moving outside, remember what that convenience replaced. It replaced over 1 million years of humans pressed into trees, huddled in groups, listening to a world that could kill them the second they let their guard down. We think of fire as the moment humans conquered darkness, but before that moment, there was a much longer, much quieter story. A story of survival built on instinct, cooperation, and vigilance, passed down so deeply that traces of it still live inside us every time we wake up in the middle of the night for no reason at all. That unease isn't random, it's memory, just older than history itself.